And I didn't say anything for a long time. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if it was human or some kind of human. I didn't want to put my mind there. And I felt bad. I felt like I had done something wrong just in killing something. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a sportsman who goes out and kills animals. Okay? So I felt bad. Not only for my dog, which I love dearly, like a member of my family, but I felt bad for what I did. And so little by little I said, well, Gary, something happened. And he said, well, what? And I started to explain it, not in a linear fashion, but all kind of jumbled up. And I said, well, I took a video of where it was. And I literally showed him the video. And he plugged it in, he turned it on my TV, in my living room, and I didn't even want to watch it. I didn't want to see it. And I said, I don't think there's anything there. I said, I think maybe I've had a stroke. And I actually went out, stood in front of the kitchen sink, and just drank water, and stood there staring out into the backyard toward my garage while he watched it. And he finally came back in and he said, oh my God, what, how, when? And he wanted all these questions answered, and I just said, no, I can't go there. I can't talk about this. I mean, it's hard for me to talk about it now. It's 13 years later. Because it ripped at the very fabric of what my foundation of my human life was about. And it's the closest thing I can resemble my feeling to is post-traumatic stress. And many people, many other psychologists, psychiatrists have said that is exactly what's happened to you. And that you are dealing with this trauma that happened so intensely in your life that it tore at your very core and has left this scar. And that's why it is emotional. That's why it is so hard for me. But Gary saw it. Gary saw the tape, and he said, it's on the tape. It's there. And I just said, no, it can't be there. I don't want to believe that it's there. And he said, well, where is it? Where is Susie? And I explained kind of what happened. I said, I don't know. She just disappeared. She just went into this void. And of course, he started not to believe me. And that made me a little bit irritable, but it also made me comfortable in a weird way, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to not believe it either. I really wanted to convince myself that it didn't happen. And I said, well, her body is wrapped up. I guess I brought it home. I guess it's in the freezer. I put it in the thermal blanket. And I literally went out to the garage by myself and unwrapped it and looked, and it wasn't my dog. It was this little creature. And I know that this order of things is a little different than what I wrote in the book. But I'm telling you, this is what happened. It was out of order. It wasn't linear. It wasn't point A to B to C. It was point A to E to F to C to B to A. It was all a jumble. And that's how it really happened. I mean, that's how this whole craziness fell into my lap. And then Gary finally saw it. Face to face with me in my garage, laying on the garage floor at first, unwrapping this thermal blanket, seeing the body and the wound in its head and the blood, laying there and saying, and he was the first one to say, this isn't human. This is something else. And I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to believe it was human either. But I just didn't want my mind to go back to that space that was so traumatic. I just didn't want to accept it. So literally, for the first day, I walked away. I just walked away in this numb state and stayed in my house. He was the one who said, well, this has got to be what people call an extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional. You know, it's human-like. It has hands, it has legs, it has a torso, it has one head, it has 2 big eyes, a mouth. And over that 9 days, we'd take the body out, we'd put it on a table, we'd display it, we photographed it, we took samples of its blood, of its tissue, of the cranial matter that was totally exposed. We had DNA done, DNA analysis done by some of the head pathologists of the University of Washington Medical School. And I believe that because they helped me, some of them are dead. They all came to a situation where 1 or 2 or 3 of my friends started being either beat up or killed or everything in between. I ran away. I left the country because I didn't want to put this on anybody else and on myself. I was afraid for my life. And I was afraid for what they were doing to my friends and family. People say, well, you know, you changed your name. You lied about your name. You're damn right I lied. I changed it to protect my family, to protect my friends. I mean, people who write books change their name all the time. What's the big deal? You know, you ask anybody who's had any trauma like this, they've done the same thing. And I do it again. But I do it different this time. You know, I tried to give all this to the media. I tried to call the police. You know, I tried to get other people involved. And I did get other people involved. Other people saw the body. There's been 15 or 20 people who saw that body during those 9 days. Okay? Some of them are dead. Some of them have been beat up in their homes and threatened by people who said, you will not talk about this. This didn't happen. And if you do, we will come and take away your life, your career, your job, everything. Well, that's what happened to me. I'm proof that it can happen. And I'm proof that there are still people out there are still forces out there that will ridicule you, they will harass you, they will beat you into the ground physically and emotionally to make sure that people don't get a chance to hear what I'm trying to tell you now. And there are thousands of other people in the same situation that I'm in, all around the world. Maybe they didn't have the photographs. Maybe they were smart enough not to have all the evidence that I had. And so they haven't been, drugged through the mud quite as much as I have. But I'm here today to tell you, we have a right to tell about what we know is true.
The third day.
On the third day, from bringing this body home, I had planned somebody from my university, somebody who I knew personally, to come out and look at the body and tell me what he thought. Somebody I respected, somebody who was a doctor. And again, to help me deal with this, what should I do with it? Where should I take it? How should I handle this situation? Because I didn't know. And we had talked on the phone. He had come out verbally and said, yes, I will be there. Yes, I would like to help you. Let me make arrangements to get some time off. We set a time. He was supposed to be there. I had gone out to the garage. I had set up a light and a table so that literally we could display the body. He could look at it comfortably. He was an older gentleman. I didn't want him crawling around on the garage floor. So it was all waiting for him. And at the last minute, I got a phone call, and he said very abruptly, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. And he said some things to me that I don't want to divulge at this moment. But he said some things that I knew, I felt he was saying them almost in code to tell me that something was wrong, that something else was wrong. And I could tell in his voice that he sounded almost worried. And so